Let's talk about supply. We did a lot in the demand videos, so we're going to skip some of the information that both the supply and demand curves have in common. But I'd suggest watching the demand videos and the math videos to better understand the supply curve. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button so you can receive notifications. The theme for this video is oranges, the sweet citric goodness that we all know and love. And just a reminder, the supply curve is the relationship between the price and quantity supplied of a good. Remember, as we work through these, to think of supply from the producer's point of view, like you're selling the product. This will make it a bit easier to understand. I think since all of us are consumers, demand is a bit easier to understand. But just remember, you're selling the product, you're the producer, you're the one supplying the good. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and move over to our graph and begin. In our demand video, we went over the equation for the demand curve. The supply curve is similar. We can substitute P or price in for our Y, since it's our Y variable, and we can substitute Q or quantity in for X, which is our X variable. So our new supply curve is P equals MQ plus B. And if we look at our supply curve is upward sloping. Now remember, each point in our supply curve represents a specific price and specific quantity. And our supply curve represents the relationship of every price and quantity for the specific good. And if you remember the demand curve, price and quantity have a negative relationship. So as price decreases, quantity increases. Well, for our supply curve, they have a positive relationship. So you can look and see as P increases, the quantity increases as well. So it's a positive relationship. Now, another major difference between the supply and demand curve is the supply can increase forever. And let's put these together and let's think about that for a moment. If more people are willing to pay a higher price for your good, you'd be willing to take that higher price, right? If people are willing to pay $1 for your product, we are going to sell at that price. If people are willing to pay $1,000 for our product, we're going to sell at that price. So the curve extends forever, theoretically. So let's move on to our shifts, and I'm going to go ahead and mark our spots here really quick. So we have our P and our Q here, and let's go ahead and start with the shift to the left. So a shift to the left means that there is a decrease in the quantity supplied. So at the same price, P, the quantity supplied decreases. And our Q shifts to the left, so our Q decreases. Well, what can cause that? Well, let's go back to oranges. So oranges grow in a tropical climate that require warm temperatures. So when it freezes later in the year than expected in these areas, a bunch of oranges go bad and the supply of oranges decreases, which creates a leftward shift in the supply curve. So we have fewer oranges being supplied at that same price. And like the 1983 classic Trading Places, having inside information on the orange market can make you a ton of money and bankrupt wealthy old men who have done you wrong. And for those of you who haven't watched the movie, I'll go ahead and link it in the comments. Now, the other thing that can occur is a rightward shift. And a rightward shift means that there is an increase in the quantity supplied. And I'll go ahead and mark this as Q1. So this was a rightward shift or an increase in the quantity supplied. So at that same price, the quantity supplied increases and we can sell more of our good at that price. And what's an example of this? Well, if we look at oranges, increasing our production by using fertilizer can increase our quantity. Another example is the internet. Technology almost always increases things to the right, it increases productivity. So, another example is internet. If we have a farm that grows oranges and we build a website, we can now have people visit our website and order our oranges. There are plenty of other ways, but those are just two simple ways that can increase supply. So at this point, we've looked at the demand curve and how that shifts. In this video, we've looked at the supply curve and seen those shifts. The next video is going to look at the supply and demand curves together. So click the subscribe button, leave a comment, and keep looking for new videos to come. Oh, and go watch Trading Places.